Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Things just got absolutely wild with the WNBA. I know, I know. It's hard to believe considering it has been nothing but wild to begin with. But check this out. This is not some random person on X. It's not some YouTuber screaming. This is the Wall Street Journal, the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark's civil rights. Yes, how about that? Let's get into this a little bit. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. Shout out to the 19. Hope you all having a fantastic day. You look amazing. Wow. Anyway, if the league won't act to protect its superstar from a hostile environment, the government should do so. Now, to be fair, I'm just going to put this out there right now. And I know a lot of people make assumptions of this and that, but I'm not huge, no matter what it is, I'm not huge on the government stepping in to fix things. I think maybe we ought to figure these things out. But setting that aside, there are some interesting points made when you look at what has been going on in the WNBA and what they are doing to Caitlin Clark, the face of the league, in trying to destroy her career and at the very least get rid of her fans. It says here, Caitlin Clark has done for the Women's National Basketball Association what Michael Jordan once did for the NBA, made it more valuable, watchable, and marketable, above and beyond. Because let's look, the NBA went through a lot of struggles for sure, and they talk about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson coming in together to help save it, and then MJ came in a few 4 or 5 years later and sort of elevated things. And as amazing as that was and as big of an impact MJ had, I think Caitlin Clark had even more of an impact because the WNBA was far more irrelevant at the time of Caitlin Clark's entrance than the NBA and Michael Jordan. But that is a whole nother issue. As the problem is, as it says here, instead of protecting its transformative star, the league's leadership ignores the relentless targeting of Miss Clark, treating its greatest asset as if she were a PR headache. That approach could turn into a legal liability for the WNBA. Now, about this, look, we can say what we want and guess about motives. Again, it is very clear when you listen to them talk, whether it is y'all not like us, Renee Montgomery, Sheila Johnson, who's Renee Montgomery, one of the owners of the Atlanta Dream, Sheila Johnson, owner of the Washington Mystics, when Caitlin Clark got an individual award from Time Magazine. She complained and whined and bitched and moaned and said the entire league should be on that cover. The media, you all know that it was always Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark and the rookie class, Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson, and on and on and on. They made it very, very clear, Kathy Engelbert as well. They made it very, very clear that they were uncomfortable giving Caitlin Clark any praise at all, specifically to her and her alone. Check out these numbers real quick. Since she joined the league last year, merchandise sales soared 601%. 601%. Indiana Fever viewership jumped 170%. Teams value tripled. League Pass subscriptions climbed 366%. App engagement rose 613%. Caitlin Clark made over $11 million in endorsements. And that doesn't include a lot of things like the Fever going from 3,000 fans a night to sell out crowds. And I think they averaged 16, 17,000. I forget the exact number off the top of my head. That in only 26 games, the Indiana Fever set a home away combined attendance record for the league. And yet, as it says here, we constantly see all the targeting on Caitlin Clark, the way they guard her, and it's allowed by the officiating. And by the way, in a minute or two, I want to show you something that's a real eye opener in terms of how games are called and what something looks like when other players are involved versus when Caitlin Clark is involved. It's absolutely wild. As Sophie Cunningham says, and of course, we already know, it's nice to hear a player say it. The star player of the league is not being protected. Miss Clark herself noted, everybody is physical with me. They get away with things others don't. I hadn't actually heard that. Let me know if anyone has that in the comments below. Like if there's a larger context of that, I think that would be interesting to see. We know she's been injured, what, Am I losing count? Am I losing my mind, or is it four now? I feel like it's four now, right? I think it's three in the regular season and one in the preseason as well that's kept her out of things. Ratings plummeting 55% without her. Of course, we had the famous or infamous Asia Wilson's nonsense about making it about race, that it's a huge thing, and that it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is. Asia Wilson is the expert, most brilliant, most intelligent woman to ever walk the face of the earth. She knows, folks. She knows everything about Caitlin Clark's popularity is 100% about race. What an absolute moronic clown who would be a nothing anywhere else but the United States. The article talks about, as we all know, the 17% of all flagrant fouls. And of course, it is actually so much worse than that, because even stuff that isn't terrible goes uncalled when it's Caitlin Clark. We've all talked about the hand on the hip, the impeding her when she's dribbling, and on and on and on. And they saying here, and this is why he's talking about it being civil rights, is that the league has fostered, and I would say encouraged, a hostile workplace for Caitlin Clark through the excessive fouling, the targeting, the hostile comments from other players and owners, as I had just mentioned about Renee Montgomery and Sheila Johnson as well. And this is not something that is isolated. It's documented. It's continuing. It's ongoing. It's completely ignored by officials. And again, I'm going to get to that in a minute, how very, very clear it has been. Not one single player has been suspended for what they have been doing to Caitlin Clark nonstop since she entered the league. And this is the interesting part. Professional sports are multi-billion-dollar industries subject to the same civil rights, antitrust, and labor laws as any other. When basic rights, safety, and public confidence are threatened, Washington intervenes. The government has forced changes at the National Collegiate Athletic Association, USA Gymnastics, and other leagues over player safety protocols. Even Gino Auriemma, my favorite and yours, has talked about Caitlin Clark being targeted and that Jordan did not face that. Now, I'm not going to go on and on. He gets into cases, but that's my point. He gets in specifically to cases such as the Supreme Court with Harris versus Forklift Systems in 93, Texas Department of Community Affairs versus Burdine in 81, and on, talks about the Title 7 of the 64 Civil Rights Act. So I encourage you, if you are really interested into those types of details, to go check this out. The Wall Street Journal. It's an opinion piece. It is Sean McLean wrote this. It just came out yesterday. And I want to bring to your attention, just to sort of hammer the point home, go over a few things really, really quickly. And this is fascinating, folks. This play you're about to see, look at your lower left corner. And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that Chelsea Gray there, number 24? This leads to an ejection. This is an ejection. Yes, she got ejected for that. Now, is that a flagrant foul? Doing that off the ball? Absolutely. It is a flagrant foul. By the way, that's a legal play in soccer. Well, it depends. We'll see, depending how the officials are calling the game. But that, I want to play that one more time because it's important. I mean, it's not dirty. It's a cheap shot for sure, but it's like she doesn't throw an elbow. It's a shoulder. She doesn't throw an elbow. She's not hitting to the head of this, that. So I'm not excusing it. But my point being, that was an ejection. And I'm not saying it should not be when you're talking about off the ball, the player's not looking, and so on and so forth. But let us not forget that we had a couple of things here. We had Jay Sheldon with the purposeful eye rake. We have Tina Charles with the punch in the back. We have the blind side by Marina Mabrey. And guess what? No one was thrown out for this. No one was suspended for this. And what you just saw before that was an automatic ejection from the game. And oh yeah, just to hammer it home one more time to make absolutely clear, we had this last year. Dead ball foul, almost the identical to Marina Mabrey and what she did. And boom, by the way, she also cursed at her before she got there. And we had that. And not only was she not thrown out, Kennedy Carter, in the game, And I want to make something very clear. We're showing a dead ball foul. You can't see it, but down here to the right, and let's see if they come into play. Down, I don't know if we get a chance to see it right there. So you can see the hand all the way to the right. Like, look, even with the middle of Aaliyah Boston, look all the way to the right. You can see the official's hand. So the official was right there staring at it because, of course, they're watching the inbound play. And that official called this play a regular foul. In no world, in no way. I do not care how incompetent an official is. You do not get that wrong unless it is corruption, unless it is being done purposefully. And then that's where you get a hostile work environment because clearly there is something going on with what they are doing with Caitlin Clark because that was not even reviewed. Now, it got such an uproar that the WNBA, in order to fend off the backlash after the fact, they called it a flagrant, which of course affects nothing because you have to get like 5 or 6 flagrants in a season to even get a suspension, which no one ever does. And of course, the Fever didn't get the free throw there. They didn't get the ball. Like it didn't impact the game. So the WNBA had nothing to lose at all by saying, oh, well, after the fact, it's a flagrant, not called a flagrant. The official's right there. The official, regardless of how bad they may be, and we know there are lots of bad officials, you don't get to the point, right? They're not new to basketball. We can say what we want, but the officials actually do know the rules of the game. This was clearly done on purpose, and I don't believe an official does that without word or encouragement from higher ups in the league. So this is very, very interesting when you start getting this type of momentum with regard to what's going on with Caitlin Clark, that we are seeing opinion pieces in the Wall Street Journal breaking down with Supreme Court cases how these are civil rights violations for Caitlin Clark. So buckle up. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps out tremendously. We are actually on our way. On our way. We've top 14. We're heading towards 15,000 subscribers. So thank all of you. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.